How's it going, guys? It's K-Cars, and in this video I'm going to be showing you guys how to remove surface rust from a car. So specifically today we're going to be working on my 2001 Jeep Cherokee XJ. If you guys have been following the channel for a while, you'll know I've been trying to slowly restore this Jeep as well as just maintain it and trying to build it up as well to off-road. As you guys probably know, these old Jeeps are known for having a whole bunch of rust, especially on the underside and all the cracks and like door jams and stuff. Now I've already done this to the front doors, like on the door jams. So it actually looks pretty good. Let me get out and show you guys what it looks like. So here's the door jam that I've already done. As you can see, it does look pretty good, I think. So like I said, I have done the front, I haven't done the back. That's what I'm going to be working on today. So just as a comparison, I'll show you guys what the back looks like here. So as you can see, it's not completely terrible, but it could definitely use some work. Now, like I said, don't pay attention to this. This is horrible. We're not going to be fixing this huge hole in this video. My plan is to actually just like get the whole rocker replaced maybe, because I definitely have to do something about that. But like I said, today we're just doing the surface rust. It's like on the door jams right here. You can see there's a good bit of rust right there. Now some of the stuff is a little bit hard to get to, just because as you can see, the metal is kind of like folded in, so you're definitely not going to be able to get to all the rust in there. So that's one downside. But if you look over here, you should be able to get to like all this rust. As you can see here, there is this little black plastic thing covering up a good portion of the jam here. So I would like to take this off, but unfortunately the screws are so rusted that I literally can't unscrew them at all. So I'm kind of letting them sit with some oil right now. Let me show you guys what the front looks like with the new screws. So there's the front. It definitely looks a whole lot cleaner and better. So I'm just trying to make it look as best as I can. So we're gonna let that sit for a little bit. Meanwhile, we're gonna be removing some of the rust from the door jamb right here. You guys can see that. All of this stuff, including up under here. So this whole bottom door section is what we're gonna be working on first while waiting for the screws to penetrate with oil. So hopefully we can unscrew these. But anyways, the process for actually doing this, at least the process that I'm going to use, is first we're going to try to sand it off with just sandpaper. This is just 80 grit sandpaper. Now I do prefer a more coarse sandpaper, not really anything fine, because if it's rust then you're going to be scraping away forever. So if we don't want to scrape away forever, then if you have a Dremel tool, it's going to be really useful. Right now I have a sandpaper bit in there, so this will make your life a whole lot easier. It did for me. So this is the process that we're going to be using, like I said. First, we're going to start off with just sandpaper, see how that goes. Probably won't be using the sandpaper for too long because it just takes way too long. Then after that, we're going to move on to the Dremel and take off all of the rust. And as you can see right here, I kind of started working on this area just with sandpaper. And you can see this rust is a little bit deep here, so we're gonna definitely need to be using the Dremel on that. And if you can see, you can kind of start to see the sheet metal right there. You can see that silver part, it's no longer paint or primer. You want to be sanding all the way down to the silver metal part of it. So you're going to be sanding all the way through the paint and the primer. And after we sand off all the rust and we're happy with how it looks, we're going to mask off the whole area that we don't want to paint and just have the area that we do want to paint exposed. That's probably going to take the most amount of time. Either that or sanding will take the most amount of time. Last time I did this, I literally like masked off everything all the way back to probably around here, because if you're doing this outside, then it's most likely going to be windy, and as you guys know, paint travels really easily. And I actually did make a little bit of a mistake whenever I did the front. So as you can see, I did get a little bit of primer over here whenever I painted the front part of this, but it's really not that bad, not really noticeable unless you're looking for it. So after we get it all masked off, we're going to be using primer first. So this is Rust-Oleum. It's specifically for rusty metal. So this is what I'm going to be using, just to have some more added protection from rust. Not sure how well this stuff works, but it says stops rust, so I'm going to believe that, and hopefully it works. So after we apply the primer, we are going to be spraying the actual paint. So Duplicolor, they actually make like specific to like your actual color. So the paint color of my Jeep is Patriot Blue, which the paint code for that is PBT. And as you can see here, it says duplicates original Chrysler colors. And on the sticker here, it says Patriot Blue, and then the paint code is PBT. Not sure how well you guys can see that there, but that's what it says on the sticker. So of course, after the primer, we're going to be applying the actual paint. And obviously you want to wait for the primer to dry before you apply the paint. Then once you've applied the appropriate amount of paint coats, we're just going to be putting a clear coat on it. So yeah, that's basically the whole process. And after it dries up, you can take the masking off and you're all done. So let's go ahead and get started with the sanding. So we're going to be using the Dremel with the sandpaper bit, like I said. So let's see how this goes. Alright guys, so I have finished sanding down all the rust on the bottom of the door here. The whole sanding process took me probably like 45 to an hour maybe. So I'll be honest, I didn't really use the sandpaper at all, except for like the flat parts on top here. I pretty much just used like the Dremel tool and these different like sanding bits to do like all this stuff. So I'll show you what I used here. Here's one of them that I used. It's pretty worn out, so it didn't last too long. And then I also used this little thing, but like the bit broke off, so couldn't use that. And then I finished using this little bit. So this is good for getting like in the little cracks here. So like I showed you guys how the metal like folds up like that. So it's good for getting like in between. Of course, you're not gonna like actually get in between, but like in there like that. I'll show you guys what I mean. So pretty much just getting like as far down in there as you can. Of course, it's not gonna be perfect. So I mean, this isn't perfect at all. But I'm gonna call this good. I think it's good enough to go ahead and put some primer on there and paint it. So like I said, for the flat part, I did actually use sandpaper. So just a little piece like this, just on top there. Just like that. As you can see, you can still see a little bit like of the dots, like patches of rust. But whenever I like go over it with my finger, it's completely smooth. I'm not gonna worry about it too much or sand it anymore. So right now I'm gonna go ahead and mask up this whole bottom section of the door so we can put primer on it. I'll probably just start off by putting like painter's tape up here and have it go down like maybe to here, because I do want to paint this whole bottom section. And then I'll probably stop it maybe like, I don't know, I'll probably like go up to here maybe on the door, and then obviously mask off this whole section as well as the inside, of course. And I'll probably go back pretty far because, like I said, I do go overboard with masking tape. And we're not going to be painting or sanding this part yet because I do want to take this plastic piece off. So these screws are still like soaking in WD-40. So hopefully I'll be able to unscrew those, but I don't know, it might be a little bit difficult. Yeah, let's go ahead and mask it off now. All right, so this is what I'm going to be using as masking tape. I'm going to make sure that you actually do use the tape that's used for masking, like painter's tape, stuff like that. It's usually like blue or green like this. If you use regular tape or like duct tape, then it can leave like residue on your paint, so that's what you don't want. So painter's tape does not leave any kind of residue on the paint. So I'm going to go ahead and start with the top section and see how much we need. That should be good for now. stuff like isn't even sticky anymore. It's been sitting for like months. Okay, that should be good. Just hope that stays there. Okay guys, so this is probably all I'm gonna do to mask it off. As you see, I just have this tape right here, tape off the side, and then all the way back there, you can see I taped it up there so it doesn't go like through the little crack and to the front. Then obviously you don't want to get it inside, so I have this big piece of paper right here. It's not taped or anything, it's just sitting there, so held on by a little like box or whatever. So that's pretty much all I have to mask it off. Whenever I actually like spray the stuff, I'm going to be using like this piece of cardboard here just to cover it up a little bit more like that. So hopefully that's enough. We'll see how it goes. So also, before we spray the primer on there, we're going to rub it down with rubbing alcohol just to make sure it's all clean and the primer has a good surface to actually like bond to. So we're going to go ahead and do that real quick. Alright, so we're going to go ahead and apply the primer now. So let's just hope I did a good job masking it up. So whenever you're applying like primer or paint, you want to do like light coats at a time, just so you don't get any like drips down there. That's probably too much that I sprayed right there. I don't know if you can see, but it's starting to kind of drip down. But I'm not like trying to be completely perfect with this, because at the end of the day, it is a 20-year-old Jeep. I'm just trying to make it look good. So, I mean, little like paint drips, they're not going to make too big of a deal. So, if you are like actually doing this like on a professional job, then you definitely want to be making sure that you're paying more attention to stuff like this. Okay, so now I'm just gonna wait probably like half an hour to an hour, and then we're gonna go ahead and apply the paint. So while I'm waiting for the primer to actually dry, I decided to take off this rear bumper end cap, and that looks pretty bad. And I did find this little like black bag. I opened it up and it's just like insulation. If anybody knows why that's in there, let me know down in the comments. I'm definitely gonna have to get this rear lower quarter panel replaced as well. So yeah, just finding more and more things on this Jeep to replace, along with the rear bumper right there. All right, so I've let the primer dry for about an hour. So now I'm gonna go ahead and apply the actual paint. So as I showed you guys, we're just gonna be applying this the same way as the primer. Alright guys, so after the paint has dried, we're going to be ready to apply the clear coat. So I'm basically just going to be applying this the same way that I applied the primer and paint. Then I'm going to wait for it to dry. Then we're going to just take the tape off, and that's it. So when you actually go ahead and take the masking tape off, you're probably going to see borders like between where the new paint is and where the original paint is. Just make sure you're aware of that. Like I said in the beginning of this video, it's not going to be exactly perfect. So just make sure that you're aware of that. So I'm going to go ahead and put the clear coat on. I'm not going to show you guys the process for that because, as you can see, it is already dark outside. But just wanted to let you guys know that this is going to be the last step in the whole process. And then we're going to be done with the whole thing. We're just going to wait for it to dry and then take the masking tape off. And that's all there is to it. I hope you guys enjoyed this video and found it informative. If you guys want to see more Jeep and car videos, make sure to head over to my channel and check out some of the other videos that I do. Also subscribe if you want to see my future Jeep videos as well as Challenger videos. Also just different types of car content. So I'm looking forward to making more videos, and drop any video suggestions for videos that you guys would like to see in the future down in the comments, as well as any questions. And if you guys liked this video or found it entertaining, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. And as always, thanks for watching.